Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to week four's housekeeping video for the Applied Statistics class, or MAT 240 course. Reaching about the halfway point of our course. So I'd like to go over the housekeeping items, what's going to be on your plate for this week, what still can be turned in, and just some friendly reminders of things that you need to do in terms of success inside of the course. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. So agenda on the housekeeping items, week four, what do you need to do this week? Remind you in terms of the late assignment policy, what's currently closed, that you're no longer able to submit, as well as what you still can submit late for full credit. So we'll go over all those items. When would you expect feedback on the previous week 1 through 3 items, etc. So we'll cover that. My availability during the week, just some reminder tips in terms of success in the class and the learning environments. And then we'll talk about the videos and point you out certain things within week 4 that you need to pay attention, especially the project 1 that is worth 190 of the 1,000 points possible inside the class. So I want to make sure that you have everything available in terms of what needs to be done on that first project. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So for this particular week, review the module resources, and we'll go over that here inside the presentation. You have a series of participation and challenge activities for week 4, just like in weeks 1 through 3. I'll remind you where to click inside of module 4 to make sure that the transfer of the scores occur between zyBooks and the gradebook class portal, and then submission of project 1. So those are the 4 main things on your plate. And you're going to see once we get to this project 1, a lot of this you already did in weeks 2 and 3. It just recaps and puts it together more as a capstone in terms of the processes that you did in terms of data collection, random sampling, regression equation, etc. So we'll go through all of those respective components here as we progress along. So as a reminder, late assignment policy, the zyBook assignments, participation, and challenge activities, all of those are available throughout the entire 8 weeks of the course. So there is no late penalty associated with participation and challenge activities. They all open the first day of class and remain open through 11:59 p.m. in your time zone of week 8. So if you're still working on stuff potentially from week 1 and 2, that's fine. When it comes to any participation or challenge activities, you have the full 8 weeks to get those done. Discussion forums, we don't have one for this week, but just as a reminder, discussion forum posts can only be done in the week they are open. So our next one isn't until week 6 when it comes to a discussion forum post, but you'll be busy with this project 1 this week in terms of the different milestones inside of the class. But that's just a reminder so that when week 6 comes up, that you'll know that you'll make sure that you get that initial post and the 2 quality responses out there to obtain full credit. And then from written assignments, I should have out there at this particular point, if not no later than Tuesday of week 4, any remaining submissions of assignment 2.3. That was real estate analysis part 1. Those guys should be fully graded, hopefully by Monday, at the latest sometime on Tuesday. So you should see any feedback if it's out there. Now, if you have not submitted this by the end of week 3, 11:59 p.m. time zone for week 3, it is considered late, and typically I do not accept that for credit after that particular point. And the reason being is the online policy is typically 2 weeks on a given assignment. So unless there's an extenuating circumstance such as hospitalization, military deployment, that type of thing, please send me an email. We can discuss that on a one-on-one basis. But time management is typically not something that is an extenuating circumstance, because I do give that life happens time frame of 2 weeks on written assignments, and they do take a substantial amount of time from an instructor's perspective to get those graded. So again, unless there's an extenuating circumstance, there is no more submissions as far as the assignment 2.3 there. The assignment from week 3, real estate analysis part 2, you do have until the end of this week, week 4, to get that in without any policy. Again, it's a 2-week window in terms of those written assignments. Don't freak out if you do see a 0 out there. The university does require that if it was not submitted at the end of week 3, that I have to put a 0 out there as a placeholder. So if you do submit that assignment during week 4, not an issue. The score will eventually be updated as I see those assignments come in. Project 1, that's the one you're working on this week. You do have until the end of week 5. Again, it's always 2 weeks on written assignments to get those in. And then week 5's assignment, end of week 6, and then project 2, week 7 at the end of week 8. And as I mentioned before, typically it's only that 2-week window. If there is an extenuating circumstance, please send me an email. We can discuss that on a one-on-one basis. Please don't post that in the general questions forum. I can't discuss grade items inside of that forum. And if you do, that's not an issue. I'll just remind you to send me an email. Not a big deal there, but do keep that in mind. We try to keep things moving along throughout the spectrum of the course, and typically written assignments only have a 2-week window on those. All right. And then the participation and challenge activities, as long as you're following what I've told you the first 3 weeks, and again this week, those scores automatically transfer from zyBooks into the class portal. So as you continue to progress through any participation or challenge activity, you'll see those scores automatically updated as you progress through those. So there isn't any manual intervention from the instructor's perspective, as long as you're clicking on that initial link each week at least one time, so that sync process between zyBooks and the class portal. And I'll remind you again what needs to be done week 4 so that occurs. And then I'll show you, there is, for the participation and challenge activities, there is a video out on the announcements page that goes through the step-by-step process on the challenge activities. The participation ones are typically multiple choice that you can toggle to the correct answer. And if there's questions on them, by all means, don't hesitate to send me an email. But the only ones that you'll see the videos out there, again, is for the challenge activities for week 4. And if you're still looking at week 1 through 3, just go to the announcements page. Those videos are out there as well, so you have that as a resource. Now, feedback and grading schedule. Typically, Monday morning is when I do the feedback from the previous week. So week 1's discussion forums, it's already week 4. That should be fully graded. Participation and challenge activities, those all automatically transfer. And again, as long as you're clicking on that initial link that I'll demonstrate again here in a few minutes. And then week 2's written assignment, everything should be pretty much graded by Monday, at the latest Tuesday, on any late submissions on that. Should have that out there. Anything from week 3, again, my goal is typically Monday morning, I have the feedback out there, but at the latest Tuesday, any initial submissions from week 3's assignment should be graded, and then it's typically that Monday morning as I've got listed there. So next, my contact information listed, this is the previous week's, but the email is the best way to get a hold of me during the week, the m.weeman@snhu.edu. That's going to get you your quickest response. Again, my benchmark to get back with you is within 24 hours. Typically, it's going to be quicker. The only exception to that, if you send me something sometime on Sunday, you may not get a response until Monday morning. So, and again, if something from my perspective on a life happens event occurs, I will notify you via announcement inside the class portal if there's any potential delays. 99% of the time, it's not going to occur. But if it does happen, instructors also have life happens events. I'm gonna post that out there, and we'll let you know if there's any delay in terms of feedback, or if I wouldn't be available inside the class portal. One thing I cannot stress enough from a class perspective success, and I know I sound like a broken record in terms of this, but make sure you are spreading out things throughout the week, especially with those written assignments. Don't, especially we're in week 4 now. If you're working on week 3's assignment, don't wait till Sunday night to ask questions about it. Because again, Sunday nights, if you're sending me something 10 o'clock your time zone, odds are I'm not going to be able to respond to you with any questions or concerns in a timely manner. So again, if you do, spread the stuff out throughout the week. Don't wait until the last minute, because again, things may happen from your perspective in terms of life happens, and I don't want it to be late. And typically, time management items are not going to be grounds for extension inside of the course. So again, I try to be as flexible as possible, and I know life happens, events occur, but we do need to make sure that we are following policy inside the class. So if you do have questions or concerns, don't hesitate to send me an email. We can set up a conference either via Teams or Google Meets or something along those lines. Have no problem with doing that if you do have questions. Typically, I'll ask you to kind of key in some things via email, because then we can talk back and forth a lot faster. But if we need to set up that conference, I have no problem with that as well. So let me go into the class portal here. It should look something very similar to yours in terms of the announcements. It's just an example of one. But the first thing I want to reference, if I go underneath course menu and announcements, and I'm going to scroll down here as soon as it comes up. The old watch pot boil type thing. So I'm going to scroll down here, and what you're looking for this week, if I continue on and on, and one more here. Okay, so you got your zyBook challenge activities for week module 4. You'll see that announcement in there with the correct video in terms of that, and that will be available to you at the beginning of week 4. So you'll have that video available. This is the same type of video from weeks 1 through 3 that demonstrates all of the zyBook challenge activities inside that video. That's a great resource. If you're stumped on something on a calculation, take a look at that video. It goes through that step-by-step process on doing those respective calculations. And then let me go into learning modules. And then we're in module 4 for this week. Just as a reminder, I know that you've done this previously, but again, this has to be done each week to set up the sync between the zyBook and the class portal gradebook. So you'll want to make sure that you click on this link for the participation activities. That will send your scores for the participation activities to the class portal gradebook, and then the same deal with the challenge activities. I'm not going to click on each of these now, since I've demonstrated that in the previous videos, but both of these links have to be clicked on. Even if you're working it inside the zyBook and you go to chapter 4 or module 4's information, these two have to be clicked to set up the sync between the zyBook and the class portal gradebook. Now, the project 1 submission, this is the big thing, as I made mention at the beginning of this housekeeping video. This is worth 190 points out of 1,000. So it's a pretty substantial part of your overall grade inside the class. So let's take a look at this. So it takes a second or two here to load. All right. So you're going to have this real estate data spreadsheet. It's the same thing that you've been working with the past couple of weeks. You're basically putting everything together as kind of a formal report in terms of this project 1. So you're going to describe the description of the report. You're going to create the linear regression equation that's most important relative to the given scenario. You're going to the scatter plot. You're going to generate that. You'll also generate your linear regression equation. You'll also inside of this, via the sample that you choose, you're also going to illustrate your R and your R squares, your correlation coefficients that are inside there. Now, one thing that I want to make sure in terms of this as well, When you are listing this inside the project, this is on any of the assignments, you need to list out, if you're sampling 50 houses, that needs to be included inside the Word document template that you're working with. I can't, when I go to grade an assignment, guess what 50 observations you use out of the given data. And when I do grade projects or any written assignments, the only thing that I look at is the actual Word document. Even though you may attach the Excel spreadsheet, the only thing that I use for assessment is what you have inside the Word document. So please do keep that in mind when you are actually going through creating that. So you're going to pick your 50 houses, whatever methodology, and back week 2 and 3, that was discussed inside the videos when it was demonstrated of assigning a random number and then choosing the top 50 based on the subset of data that you're working with. But please include that in terms of when you're doing that. Just do a copy and paste of that data in so that I can see that relative to your presentation. So you will sample 50 houses. You're going to create your scatter plot. You did that back week 2 and week 3. So you'll want to do that. You're going to do a data analysis component. You're going to create a histogram from Excel perspective. You'll create and put that into your Word document template. Your summary statistics, you'll want to make sure you identify that in writing and also show that inside the Word document. And then the interpretation, you'll give the verbiage in terms of interpreting the graphs and statistics. The regression model, you've done that the previous weeks. Again, you're going to identify your R. You're going to identify your R squared. So you're determine the line of best fit. So your R squared, is it positively correlated? Those types of things you'll identify, and then you'll use that to predict whatever regression equation you come up with. You're going to use that to predict what that house value is based on a 1,500 square foot. So you'll do that, and then you'll have your conclusion paragraph as well. This video that's here, great step-by-step. It's going to demonstrate all the given steps. Follow that through. And again, key is make sure that you got all that source data inside of that Word document template that you're working with. So video is going to go through all of the steps that needs to be done in terms of the technical side inside of Excel. And again, a lot of this you've already done from week 2's and week 3's assignment. You're just repeating it. This is kind of, again, a capstone of putting everything together in terms of what you've done in terms of week 2 and week 3. You do need to use this Word document template. You just follow that through in each of the given steps that are there. In terms of the Word document, you'll modify each of the components in there. Again, same format as what we did week 2 and week 3, and it'll make sure in each step. So you'll want to make sure that you've identified all of the respective components that are there. And if you do have questions, don't hesitate to shoot me an email. I have no problem clarifying any of the expectations in that. A lot of this, again, has already been answered inside this video. This is a great resource that's in there in terms of the step-by-step stuff that needs to be done to create it. And again, just make sure that by the end of week 5, you've got this submitted. So it's 19% of your overall grade. So this is something very substantial that needs to be done either during week 4 or week 5 so that you're maximizing the score and being successful inside of the class. So again, you can, when you go to upload the document, you can put both the Word document and the Excel spreadsheet in there, but the only thing that I touch or grade is that Word document. So again, I know that I'm repeating myself on that, but I want to make sure that you are aware that I don't go back, I don't open your Excel document and try to figure out from point A to point B what you're doing. Everything is graded off the Word document when I go to assess that. Please let me know if there's any questions, especially on this first project one that you're working on this week. Have a great week, and we'll see you in week 5 with the next presentation.